The Fext Systems Sci-Fi 06 diorama is fully operational. I deconstructed my original set, combined it with a second set to rebuild it taller, deeper, and wider. This diorama cost $51 each plus $30 shipping for a total of $132. It arrived 7 days after I placed the order. Packed very well and in good shape. So they come in a nice box like this. Let's open it up and take a look at some of the loose pieces. One of the things I liked about this set is that it's supposed to be Lego-like and modular. So it comes with floor pieces that look like grates. I used all the clear ones. Here's a shot of what those look like, but I did have some of these left over. And then it also comes with these wall plates, and I really like that they look empire-ish. If you look closely on the back, there's lots of little pegs and tabs that when you use with these Lego-like pieces, it allows you to fit them together and then build a structure like this. My impression would be that it would be modular and easy to refit and reshape it as my needs or ideas changed over time. What I found out is all these plastic pieces are so stiff and brittle that once you lock it into place, you need to get a hairdryer out and be super patient. It could take 20-30 minutes just to change a section of this. And if you're not patient and don't really overuse the hairdryer, these little pegs that connect with the Lego pieces break off inside the Lego pieces. So not only do you have to use the hairdryer, but you really have to be gentle moving it out. And I changed just a corner section of this, and it took 30 minutes to disassemble about 6-7 pieces. I do really like that it comes with two styles of grates. You have exposed wiring and then closed wiring. And you could pick a design where you could have them layered together like this, every other one, or what I went with, what I'll show you in a second, is just have the grates lined up together like that, and it does create a nice pattern. I really do like that you can have diffuse light coming in through the background. So you can see here I have two LED puck lights behind it, and then I also have two on top. So it does give lighting from back and on top. So when you're doing toy photography and you want to change the scene, if you have an LED light set, you could just change the colors in the background and it totally changes the look of it. I think that's a really cool and neat feature. One of the best practices I can recommend with this set is to take your time and sort out all these pieces. Separate the dark floor grates from the clear ones. Separate the wall so you can have the exposed and unexposed wires. But what I learned was there's corner pieces, and you cannot use a regular wall piece in the corner. They won't fit together. So for example, right here is a regular piece. You don't want to use this in a corner because you can see that there's additional room here on the side and the corners will not slide in together. I used all my corner pieces on the build, but what you have to do is look and make sure that these pegs are flush against the edge here. If you have a little bit of a space, they're not a corner piece. So if you know that ahead of time, it's going to save you a ton of frustration that I had trying to fit them into the corner. The thing I recommend is separating out all these Lego-like pieces. There are multiple varieties. Like this is a corner piece you can build on. You have a rectangle piece. Here's another wall bracket. You would use this in the top corner of the display, and then you would put your ceiling tiles on top of it from there. So if you separate these out ahead of time and literally plan out your whole build, it's going to save you a lot of time and frustration. But what it doesn't give you the opportunity to do is experiment. So for example, if you wanted to build something up like this and I put two ledges here, what if I decided after I saw it I didn't like this bottom ledge and I wanted to take this top one and make it stretch out wider? It's going to be at least a 30 to 40 minute process just to undo all this with a hairdryer, and then you have to reassemble it from there. Again, not the end of the world if you know ahead of time what you're getting into, but I can tell you it can become very frustrating very quick to get to the final result you want. I was really hoping it'd be modular because when you're doing toy photography, when you're doing videos, it's fun to experiment over time and try new things. Whereas now this is really locked in unless I want to dedicate a couple hours of my time to fix it. I recommend planning out your pattern ahead of time. I really like the idea of the two grates together, two columns, two grates. What I found out though were the corner pieces are all the same. So if you really want to use the corner bracket and put them in the corner together, what happens is it looks like this and it totally messes up your pattern. So the corner pieces line up like this where you can put the grates next to each other. However, if you have the pattern that I did, I can't replicate it if I wanted to go 6 across. So again, not the end of the world, and I do like the way that looks in the corner, but I didn't realize that until I got to the corner, and by that time it was too late to make adjustments. Now all my figures are 6" in scale, so this is 6 inches below this platform here, and then you get a little bit more height here, and then you have more height up top. So it'd be really hard to notice the fact that this isn't contiguous up here, but I'm one of those people where I notice it, and every time I look it drives me crazy. And if I just would have realized this before I built, I would have built out from the corners. So I would have used this as the design template all the way down and then created a pattern that was contiguous going this way. Hopefully you can learn from my mistakes and design it correctly going forward. Even though this bothers me, taking this entire thing apart and getting all the corners right would be probably a 3 to 4 hour project. And right now it's not worth it. Maybe 6-7 months down the line, I'll get a bug up my you-know-what and want to change it. But for right now, I'm very happy with how it is, and I can live with just a little bit of an off pattern in the third row. Things I changed up with this build was I put 3 clear pieces on each side. And if you stay tuned to the end of the video, I'm gonna run LED strips down here and I'm gonna mount them up top. I think it's gonna look really cool to have an LED strip running through these clear diffuse squares. And you can see how nicely they diffuse the light. Those are 2 LED puck lights, which will be replaced. I've been using these 4 puck lights since I built this diorama, and they've served me well. However, if you look at the back, there's a ton of wiring, they're heavy, they're always moving and sliding off the back, and it just causes some extra consternation when I'm trying to do a video or toy photos. So I have 4 LED light strips, which are now mounted on the top of my D-top, which reflect color on that back wall that I like. But I'm gonna take 1 set of 4 and I'm gonna mount 2 to the top and then 2 underneath in those clear grates, having the additional light on top of the D-top. So I bought these Gobi light bars off Amazon, and I'm gonna replace those LED strips with this. And I'm really excited to see how that turns out as well. About a year ago, I did my initial video. If you want to check out building it from scratch, please take a look at that. Link is below. I expanded it out from 2 rows to 3, and then I had 5 rows across. I added a 6th. And the reason why I did that is I found while I was doing toy photos or reviews, it just felt really log jammed in the back. I also added that additional row up top. And again, I thought it'd just give me more flexibility for toy photography. And I just got my first set of Play Arts figures that are 12-inch in scale. So I'm pretty excited to see how they look in here. The other thing I did was leave this 3rd column open here and didn't put a wall. And the reason why I did that was because I thought it would help me get some more new and interesting angles for my toy photography. If I walled this off, I'd be coming in like this. So again, I don't know how that's gonna work, but conceptually, I wanted to give this a try and experiment with. One of the things I did not take advantage of initially was building any platform. And on here I did the clear diffuse panels just to have some extra light come through, and I just thought it kind of looked cool. Down below it, I have the 4 square panels together. And now that I have it like this, let's pull back, I think it looks cool and I think it'll add depth. Now that I'm looking at it, I really wish I would have done it either all the way across like this or done a square in this corner and a square here. If I want to make changes, again, it's going to be several hours of my life, so we're going to roll with it for now and have fun. Really not Star Wars unless you have multiple platforms without rails. All right, so now that I actually placed a couple figures, I'm really digging the platform, except Vader's tall and then the lightsabers don't fit there. And I would tweak it if I could make it modular. Nevertheless, it still looks really great and I'm very happy with it. Let's place a couple more figures in and take a couple toy photos, and then we'll switch out the LED lights and see how it comes out. On the left side on the bottom, we've got Cad Bane and Boba Fett. I don't know why, it just seemed like a good idea. In the middle, we got Ahsoka versus Vader in the World Between Worlds, and yes, that's the carbonized Vader. And up top, I threw in Darth Maul just because he looks cool as heck. And look at Surtur, man, he looks amazing. Iceman is one of my favorite figures of last year. They really nailed that translucent game. Then we got Zombie Cap, Doctor Strange, and Psycho Man. It's a pretty eclectic collection, but I like it. The fun of experimenting is trial and error. What I learned is that the strips for these LEDs are not long enough to get the grates on the bottom and go all the way up to the top. So right now I have both the lights on, a fade setting where we can see the different colors going in contrast with each other. And even though the setup is not ideal and it's a little off balance, I'm actually digging having the contrast of colors coming from behind, up top, and below. Let's load some figures in, take some pics, and see how it turns out. Just for a little scale fun, here's how the 3-story Fext system stands next to the HasLab Sentinel. $50 for 2 sets with shipping. The concept isn't it. It does look really good once it's finished. The downside is the hard brittle plastic is not modular. Once it's in, it really doesn't want to come apart. If you learn from my experience and plan it out with all the pieces before assembly, you can cut down on the build time and frustration. However, if you're like me and you got it and it's probably like 85–90% there, but I want to make a few tweaks, I know I'm in at least for a good 2 hours with the hairdryer and gently trying to pull it apart so I don't break the plastic tabs. Overall, I'd give it a solid B-. I am very appreciative to have it. I look forward to doing reviews with it. I look forward to taking photos with it. I really do appreciate this new setup, and I think it does take things to the next level, but it's just not quite there, and the difficulty in assembling it, plus the lack of modularity, I think it's fair to give it a B-. And please remember to honor the toy gods by subscribing to the Nerdery.